It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your hosts, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, my pretty babies. How y'all doing? What's going on? Lee Sanders with you guys for Monday night edition of the RCWR show for this December 23rd, 2024. It is Christmas Eve, as a lot of people have been saying throughout social media. Final countdown, man. I hope you guys have done your due diligence to go out there. Yeah, I tell you, that weather, frigid temperatures, especially over here on the East Coast, particularly. Hopefully you were able to head on out there. You're able to find that good deal. I know there's some last minute shopping going on. It's funny because I was checking out my local news and there was a poll that one of the affiliates put out asking folks, hey, how's it looking with that Christmas shopping? Did you finish it all? Do you have to do some last minute shopping, or are you going to have to like go online? What's going on with you? And 80% of folks said that they finished all of their shopping. And you just look at that and go, man, kudos to you. Apparently, and I'm most curious to see, not just for the month of December, but I'm also curious to see November and October to get a better gauge on when folks started their Christmas shopping. I know for me, coming out of September, going into early October, some of my friends and family were asking me for my Christmas list, and I just randomly put whatever out there. So I'm very curious. I know for some, they don't wait until mid to almost late November. Some actually don't start until the beginning of December. So I'm most curious to see how everything looks, if they are even going to gather that type of statistics. Hey, so we got an interesting show for tonight. We're keeping it very, very simple. For those of you that maybe are not aware, we actually did a Sunday show. And the main reason why, Christmas is on a Wednesday, and part of me figured that between right now and early Wednesday morning, like maybe wee hours of Wednesday morning, I figured a lot of you guys would probably be traveling. So my mindset was, well, you know what? The more content that you guys are able to access for on demand and downloads for wherever you're going, the better. So it didn't make much sense for me to do our standard Monday night show. So we actually did the standard show a day earlier, went all over the place. It was a nice deluxe edition. I purposely made sure it was a deluxe edition for you all to enjoy on demand and on the downloads. Audio is definitely available for you all wherever you get your podcast. So tonight, all we're mainly focusing on is the talk of Raw. And if you've been with me these past several weeks, since Raw's been in its 2-hour format, we're typically done talking about Raw in under 30 minutes tops. So I'm going to dedicate the rest of the show, and I'm hoping we can have at least about an hour 15 worth of show time. I want to take up the rest of the show tackling any type of wrestling related questions, non-wrestling related questions. I had put up a thread and there was only like a couple that had came in, so I'm just gonna knock that out. But for you guys that's tuning in live throughout social media, if you guys want to pick my brain on something, you can definitely submit right now, and I'll definitely tackle it for you guys. Okay, that's pretty much how we're gonna do it. So we're gonna do roughly an hour, hour 15 tops. It'll be a hard hour 15, and then we dip out, and everybody gets to enjoy their holidays and everything. So I'm definitely getting ready. Wifey was talking about going up and seeing some friends for Christmas. I said, I don't know about that, hon. I say, usually that's a time for family. And I said, it's one thing if it's Thanksgiving. I said, but I don't know about Christmas. I said, look, if you want to do something with, this particular set of friends, like I'm down any day after Christmas, but like, nah, I kind of want to just, that's all I said. I just want to take it easy. I said, but if you want to go do something, like I'm totally fine. December, November, and December has not been kind to the Sanders household because we have been sick in this house at various times, and then the final stretch going into Christmas, we both ended up being sick at the same time. I say all that because this year, and it's a first in the Sanders household, as far as I can recall, we do not have the Christmas tree set up. Everything that we need is downstairs in the basement, but between my loaded up semester, wifey's work schedule, and then by the time we think there is some R&R, like we're not able to do anything because she's either doing something work related, I'm doing something still class related, and then factor in we got sick at various points. Like the tree never was put up, so yeah, I mean, we have a couple of holiday ornaments, floating around here and there. A couple of holiday decors is what I was trying to say, here and there. But yeah, no. So that's what's going on with me. Hopefully yours. I know I say that some people are like, "Oh, Lee, I totally feel where you're coming from." Yeah, and then others are like, oh, "I'm glad I didn't have that problem." Like, yeah. So hey, what did you guys think about tonight's WWE Raw sound off? Got the poll up on X, formerly known as Twitter, at the RCWR Show. Also got a poll up on YouTube.com/the RCWR Show. And say, what? I am having a hard time believing that. Let me refresh that. I'm looking at the poll on X, and I am seeing that. Okay, wait a minute. Let me just, I was about to say, wait, what? Like no voting yet on X? Like, no, I've never heard that before. That's no, my internet is just a little bit slow on the phone here. I don't know what what that is all about. Kind of looks like maybe you guys are experiencing some slight buffering issues. It looks like. I hope that's not really the case at all, but if it is, hopefully it'll work itself out in a hot little bit. I'm actually okay. Oh no, you guys are good. You guys are good. Okay. All right. Never mind. Or you can go on youtube.com/the RCWR Show. Click on the post section and vote that way. So our main event of tonight, Drew McIntyre taking on Sami Zayn. I gotta say, great chemistry between those two. I know we have that certain core fan base out there. They're a little sick and tired of always seeing Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn lock it up. But I got to tell you, they've got, and I've always been a firm believer that when you have a case in entertainment where two individuals work extremely well with one another, you got to continue to milk it for all it's worth until there's honestly nothing left that can be milked. Honestly, it's no different than once we finally got to see Al Pacino, and I'm not saying Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre and that, because I mean it's like night and day, but it's just to kind of tie in an analogy. It's like when we waited for so many years to see Al Pacino and Robert De Niro share the same screen together. We kind of started fantasizing about that after we saw the two in their respected roles in Godfather 2, and then once we finally got them in Michael Mann's Heat, like, oh man, we got to see even more of these guys. Or if you're a big fan of your Western movies, there was a handful where John Wayne teamed up with, take your pick, Kirk Douglas. He also teamed up with Dean Martin for a few. Like when you just Spencer Tracy, Catherine Hepburn, fun trivial stuff going on with them too, by the way, because while both of them were, I believe, married to other people, they secretly were having an affair with each other, so for many years there. But no, when you come across two individuals that just have proven time and time again, chemistry is just there. Everything just clicks on all cylinders. You got to just go with that flow. I love seeing Drew McIntyre come out there and essentially say, "Yo, everybody on that damn bloodline list, I'm coming after all y'all's behinds." And trust me, I've not forgotten about CM Punk and Roman Reigns, because them two are at the top of my list. Right. So he's pretty much laying out what his end game is going to be. He's not backing down one little bit and everything. It's a great way to open up Monday Night Raw. And, kind of fitting that Raw opens up with Drew McIntyre, by the way, because I lost track of who it was, because now that the calendar year is starting to wrap up, everybody and their mama starts putting out some type of a list. And some of those lists, it can be really controversial because it's, well, wait a minute. What parameters exactly did you all use to get to this point here? And then you just kind of stop and go, well, wait a minute here. Some of you guys got some ulterior motives here, because we know that you guys are technically partners with WWE, so we can't really take you at true face value, can we? Like, I'm a little bit on the fence about y'all's list. But Drew McIntyre made somebody's list for best talker of the year, and I love seeing his response to winning such a covenant award, as he reposted, and there was something that involved CM Punk, where CM Punk had said, "Who said Drew McIntyre can cut a promo?" And then it cuts right to Drew McIntyre. Looks like he's maybe at his home or whatever, and he's just laughing his ass off, and he throws up a middle finger, right? So I mean, like, what better way to open up Monday Night Raw than talking about the man himself, Drew McIntyre, who we know without a shadow of doubt he's going to be winning quite a few awards from many outlets. And speaking of awards, a friendly reminder that the Lee Sanders Wrestling Awards, it is coming back. We did it last year, and we had a fantastic turnout. There was about, God, I don't want to overshoot it, but I believe there was about maybe 200 entries. So 200 entries for our awards, and it was a really good snapshot. And see, here's the thing. What's really awesome about the way we do our awards is we don't make no lists and force you guys to pick that way. It's pretty much open-ended. You guys pick. And a lot of people went out of their way last year to tell me, yo, this is really good. Like, you got to do this again. Like, keep it just like this, because the fact that it's so open and we don't know who's going to win, like, this is awesome. Like, because truly, anybody, can win this if they have enough of the votes, which is very true. So I'm actually going to be putting the final touches on that during the Christmas break. And the goal is to have it up. If I can have it up before Christmas, fantastic. If I can't have it up by Christmas, then the next best thing is I'm going to try to have it up day after Christmas. So Thursday. So FYI, and you guys will be able to find that exclusively on the show's website, rcwrshow.com. You'll be able to find it over there. FYI. So and make sure you going into 2025, make sure you bookmark that website, because there's going to be a lot of cool new content. Definitely editorial pieces that's all going to be rolling out exclusively on that website and everything. So Drew McIntyre kicking things off. Loved every minute of when Sami Zayn came out there. Sami Zayn, uh, letting Drew McIntyre know, hey, don't think for 1 second that any of the boys and girls in the back, weren't thinking about you, because we just assumed that you went back home because you were suffering from some injuries. We saw the reports that was out there, same reports that the fans here were reading. We thought that's what was going on with you. And you want to talk about sacrifices, and I love how Sami Zayn was just coming at McIntyre with his counters, going, look, man, you might have been wrestling for like 17 years or whatnot, but you're talking to a true OG veteran here that's been at it for almost 25 years. And look, everything that you're talking about, all those sacrifices, I know about those sacrifices. I've made those same sacrifices as well. But guess what? It comes with the territory. This is, Sami Zayn in a nutshell to McIntyre, dude, this is what we signed up for. We wouldn't have the type of life that we have. We wouldn't be able to provide the way we're able to provide for our family if it wasn't for the sacrifices that we were willing to make. So pretty much Zayn telling McIntyre to stop crying a river already, but also at the same time letting him know, hey, you interested in beating some people up, I'll be your Huckleberry Hound one more time. And then at that point, you're hearing, well, wait a minute, Sami Zayn has never beaten Drew McIntyre in his career, in his WWE career. He's never beaten Drew McIntyre. You're like, wait, what? So as you're hearing that, you can't help but wonder if this might be a foreshadowing of things to come, because normally when WWE, at least with the old regime, when WWE was foreshadowing something, you're automatically going, okay, well, we see where this is going. Now it's just going to be a case of, all right, how much of a riveting story are they going to be able to tell here to make us think otherwise? No, it's not going to go in this direction, when in actuality it is, right? So you have that going on in your mind. I remember there was a brawl that had erupted. I don't think the Great Value Bloodline was there, but I remember Jey Uso coming to the scene. He came to rescue Sammy. So Jay looks like he's finally cleared. He wanted to get a piece of McIntyre, but Sammy told him to back down. He's got first dibs and everything. So solid main event by McIntyre and Sami Zayn. End result, though, Drew McIntyre coming away with the victory. So if you're keeping tabs at home, Drell's grand total, Drew McIntyre has now defeated Sami Zayn on 10 different occasions. And there were 3 times alone for the calendar year of 2024. Drew McIntyre defeated Sami Zayn. 2 alone for the month of December. So the first one going back to Saturday night's main event, which was like 2 weeks ago. And now you follow it up with what went down on tonight's Monday Night Raw. So Drew McIntyre essentially ending the calendar year on a really, really good note. And I saw all of this as it was playing out, and I couldn't help but wonder one thing. Will a day come in WWE where Sami Zayn is able to defeat Drew McIntyre? And I'm very curious if anybody else is going to be tackling this, because I think it's a very interesting question to bring up. I think it's okay to speculate. It's okay to, play around with some ideas and all that. So as long as we're saying that. So here's my theory. for those curious, especially you big Sami Zayn fans. I think the only way Sami Zayn is going to be able to get a win over Drew McIntyre is if there is some type of a hardcore stipulation that's at play. All or nothing at all. It's got to be one of those, okay, look, if I defeat you, that's it. You're gone from the WWE. If I defeat you, you have to go to those lengths. You can't just go with, well, if I beat you, you're done from Monday Night Raw or you're done from Smack. No, you can't. No, it has to be a case where if I beat you, this is it. Because just for the sake of the argument, let's just say, boom, for whatever respective reason, boom, Drew McIntyre is a world heavyweight champion. Sami Zayn somehow gets a title shot. You can't go with, oh, if I beat you and retain the title, you can't challenge for the championship again so long as I'm champion. Okay, so we know what the loophole is with that, and or unless the champion takes that lift off and says, you know what, forget about it. You can't go that route. You just can't. I really feel as though at this point it's got to be it's got to be maybe like a title versus career, or just really you want another match with me? Really, I've beat you so many times. Like, like, okay, I tell you what, put your career on the line. But see, even at that, and I feel that with the creative team of Triple H, Paul Levesque, and everybody else that's at play, I feel that they're going to respect that narrative of, well, wait a minute, why is this person doing XYZ when the other person isn't putting anything up? Remember that old logic from the Vince McMahon regime? And we're like, wait a minute, so this person's putting all this up. What's this other person putting up? Not a damn thing. Well, wow, that's pretty one-sided. So I think in order to really do something like that, and I do believe in my heart of hearts, we are going to go in that direction where Sami Zayn's going to have to put his career up on the line. That and only then will Sami Zayn finally get a win over Drew McIntyre. Now, some of you guys may say, okay, so Sami Zayn's career is on the line. Well, how could Sami Zayn and storyline come back, Lee? How could he come back and go, okay, I'll see you, I'll match you, and here, I'll raise you. If I beat you, dot, 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 dot. Like, what happens right there? Sammy could either go, well, you know what, you've got to put up your career on, or he goes, Sammy may, especially since he's a baby face, he may go, I don't want your career, but we fans, we need to be done with you. If I beat you, you're gone from Monday Night Raw. Or maybe he goes, if I beat you, you cannot challenge for a world heavyweight championship for a whole calendar year. That would be very, very, and like, take it a step further. Not only can you not challenge for the world heavyweight championship, but any match or tournament associated with getting a world title opportunity, you are not able to compete. You are not allowed to compete for that whole calendar year. Now, that would be a very interesting loophole, especially if you go, from the time the match is over and you go until like whatever, but it's got to be a whole calendar year. I think that would be very, very interesting. Whether or not WWE would go in that direction, I mean, it seems like they've been doing some really good stuff these past couple of months. A lot of theories, a lot of ideas that we as fans have talked about online and everything. To a degree, WWE has implemented those and done their own little unique spin on things. So anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. So we're just going to have to continue to wait and see how everything plays out. So Drew McIntyre picking up the win over Sami Zayn. Post-match, Drew McIntyre continuing to lay into Zayn. This forces Jey Uso to come out, trying to help out his buddy there. Bam, next thing you know, we see a appearance by Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tangaloa, evening up the odds there. Drew McIntyre seeing everything that's playing now, wants no part of it. This goes back to Friday Night SmackDown, which we talked about at great length on the Sunday show. So you're seeing that continuation there, that brief alliance, if you will, between McIntyre and the Great Value Bloodline as show closes out with Great Value Bloodline beating the crap out of Sami Zayn. Jay getting some of that as well. A little bit of a foreshadowing there leading up to that January 6th premiere of Monday Night Raw. If you were with me during the Sunday show, we had this one individual that was putting up all this, and I wasn't sure where this guy got this bogus WWE news, but he was just spewing all kinds of weird crap out there. One of the things that he put out there was, there's going to be a new WWE logo. And I looked online pretty much after the show was over, even going into tonight. I looked on various sites. I looked online. I didn't see anything about no new WWE logo. The only new logos that I basically am aware of is the new SmackDown logo, which has been at play for maybe about 2 months now, if even that. We got the new Raw logo that was unveiled, but there's no new WWE logo. So it was kind of one of those, what the hell is going on here? So y'all got to be careful with the type of news that you're reading online, and make sure that when you are reading it, you're cross-referencing and you're going with more established, reputable websites that rarely get their reporting wrong. You guys got to be careful with that. But as we talked about on Sunday, that January 6th edition of Monday Night Raw, we're going to be seeing one of our main events. We're going to be seeing Jacob. I wish we were seeing Jacob Fatu all in due time. But we're going to be seeing Solo Sikoa. That's what I was thinking about earlier there. Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tamalonga. But Jay, why I keep saying Jacob? I don't. Probably because I know what he's capable of, and I trust me, he's gonna have a big year in 2025. I'm expecting big things to happen for the big man. But Solo Sikoa, Roman Reigns for the necklace there. Yeah, that should be a good matchup. Looking forward to that. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if with the way things are looking right now, I wouldn't be surprised if eventually we go into another one of those bloodline versus bloodline things, because you just feel at this point they're going to circle back to this. There's just no way. Like, there's money to be made there. There's some creative fun to be had there. You just got to keep that going, right? You just got to. But to be continued. Elsewhere on the show for the night, Miz taking on Dexter Lumis. A rather brief match. Very, very brief match. Karrion Kross interfered. Referee pretty much threw the match out. Rest of Final Testament was ready to just beat the living hell out of Dexter Lumis when the rest of the Wyatt Six members came out, made work of them, pretty much sent them packing. There was a really good line, though, by Wade Barrett, which pretty much made that whole segment for the entire night, as Barrett was mentioning Miz and basically talking about the performance that he put on, and basically tricking the fans, tricking the Wyatt Six. And he linked Miz, if I heard that right, he linked Miz to Juicy Smollett. That's just the way Wade said the name, though. Like, you knew who he meant But just the way he said it, I died. I was in tears and I was on the floor for several minutes seeing that spot. It was some pretty good stuff right there. So obviously Final Testament, Wyatt Six, their feud continuing on. At this point, it's safe to say that's all going to culminate probably on the Netflix Raw premiere. I would think it's got to go to that point. New Day was in the house. Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, they are still reeling from being shunned away by their respected peers. You know it's bad when Dominic Mysterio comes across you and he's like, man, even for me, what you guys did, that was foul. And it's like, wow, well, you know it's bad when you can't even get Dom Mysterio on your side. And I love Xavier's cheap shot at Dom, saying he looked like a broke ass Tom Selleck. I mean, some great one liners in here. And, of course, for our younger audience that's out there, if you don't know anything about Tom Selleck, at one point, Tom Selleck was, if you had a flick, a TV show in the 90s, you needed somebody to do a guest appearance or whatnot, you tapped into the services of Tom Selleck. Tom Selleck was a good looking guy. Women envied him. Guys wish they had his looks. He had the hit show Magnum PI. I'm not talking about the one that got rebooted a couple of years back, not the new one that's running around. I'm talking about Magnum PI, the original. Very successful hit series. He would go on what's that new show, Blue Bloods, which I think they're in their final season right now, which just baffles Tom Selleck because they're continuing to bring in the viewership. They're continuing to win in their respected time slot compared to whatever other new original shows that's on, and yet CBS is deciding, we're done. Probably because production it's getting to a point where it's too expensive for them. If I were to speculate, knowing a thing or two about television production, the things that go into not just writing the script, but like when you're looking at production costs, breakdowns and everything, after but so many years, things start to get really expensive, especially when it comes time to sit down and you got to renew with key cast members and pretty much try to build around them. I would imagine. Just off of the contracts alone, Tom Selleck and which Wahlberg is on that show? Is it Donnie? I think it's Donnie Wahlberg. That's also on Blue Bloods as well. I mean, I would imagine those two guys alone, that's probably taken up about 30% of the overall production costs, salary and all that. But he was he was a powerhouse actor back in his day. So if that reference kind of went by your head, hopefully me filling in the gaps just now, that helped you out a bit there. Later on, we saw New Day in the middle of the ring. They, oh yeah, they saw Rey Mysterio too. I love that. I don't know if that was before or after, but I love when they came across Rey Mysterio again. And Rey Mysterio is saying to them, look, maybe things was a little out of context from last week. Certain things I said to you guys, maybe it was foul, but one thing is for certain, you guys got some restitution that you got to lay out. And, it's time for you guys to, if y'all mean well, and you want to let it be water under the bridge, y'all all need to do the right thing. And you need to apologize. And New Day scoffed at that idea. And so Rey Mysterio telling him, all right, well, if that's how you guys are going to roll, then be prepared for everything that's to come, including going forward, hearing New Day sucks. Ray walking away. Now, just think about this for a second, because I don't think anybody else is going to make this connection. I really don't. But the fact that on a rare occasion, both Mysterios are in agreement about something. Remember, Dom Mysterio detests his father. Just everything about him, his career, just everything. Calls him a deadbeat dad, just everything, everything. And yet here we are, the week of Christmas. Would have thunk it, the one time out of the year where both Mysterios are on the same page and how New Day treated Big E. This is like, what is this world coming to? That's just kind of one of those. Just really marinate on that, right? I love hearing that Tom Selleck reference though. I popped real hard hearing that. There was some weird woman who I looked at her profile and she was talking about how she is a proud mom, has kids and loves her life, and has her face in her avatar so you can see how she looks and everything. And she commented on my Dom Mysterio post, and she said that of course I hid the reply and I ended up blocking her. But she said that Dom Mysterio looks like a broke ass pedo. And I was like, what the hell does pedo? Does pedo mean what I think it means? And I went and I looked. Basically, she said that Dom Mysterio looks like a broke ass pedophile. And I'm going, is that funny? Do we consider that terminology to be funny in 2024? Like, because my philosophy is like, we got to be careful how we label individuals, especially when in this society, my God, just the amount of accusations that's thrown out there about individuals when there's unfounded evidence, there's unfounded truth to support those claims. It's like we gotta be careful, and we've seen time and time again when people have jumped out there with some outrageous claims, accusations, false statements, falsifying information and all that. It comes back to bite that person in the ass. And for the individual that's being falsely accused, so much damage unfortunately is done. And you know what, look, for some people that might be their end game, is to just cause harm, because when it's all said and done, maybe there's some part of them that's jealous of where that individual is, and they see where they are. They wish they had what that person had, and rather than, okay, well, hit the books, work hard, work smarter, work a little harder, and you can reach those goals as well. It's interesting because I was watching a messed up show on Investigation Discovery yesterday. It was late last night, going into the wee hours of the morning. As a matter of fact, I was watching Very Scary People with Donnie Wahlberg. I was watching the new episode, and they were covering the Sun Gym Gang. Sun Gym Gang. I don't know if you guys heard about them. They were based out in Florida, but long story short, they kidnapped this guy, because they saw he had this nice house, all these nice cars, money, nice jewelry, and rather than them pick his brain, figure out, okay, what do we need to do to, how can we get to your level? We're not asking for a handout, we're just asking for you to, help us, help us go in the right direction, give us the information we need so we can try to go, get our thing as well. We trying to eat too. Rather than do all that, they kidnapped the guy. I won't spoil it for you guys. I've never heard of the story of those guys, but they ended up kidnapping the guy. And so, so we got to tread a little lightly. I was quite taken back. This was, you can't say, it was a young mom. Nah, this by her profile picture, she looked like somebody that was in her, late 30s, maybe early 40s. I kind of looked at that going, whoa, like that is pretty extreme. Like, I'm glad you found that funny. Like, I don't think most people would, that wouldn't be the first thing that they would think of when they, I've seen broke ass Eddie Guerrero. Tom Selleck is definitely a new one. I love that one. I've also seen a broke ass Billy Ray Cyrus. I've seen that one. Um, Fake ass wannabe Machine Gun Kelly. I believe it or not, I've actually seen that floating around. So, but I've never seen that until now. I never saw pedo, so I don't know. Anyway, funny stuff there with New Day. Right down to the point. Kofi Kingston had his mother in attendance. And he's just, hey, don't boo me, don't boo my mom. She came here. Come on, Boston. Like, I thought you guys loved me. Come on, I'm your hometown hero here. Like, why you guys got to do me like this here? Like, what's going on here? Like, Mom, I'm sorry you had to go through all this. And Mom, tell them how it is, Mom. Come on. And even Mom pretty much was like, nah, I ain't feeling this. I don't like this one little bit. Mom just shaking her head, said a few words, left in disgust. Mom sold the hell out of that. I loved it. I loved it. I don't care what Mom said to Kofi. We didn't need to hear it. All we needed to see was those beautiful facial expressions that Mom made and her body language. That's all we needed. It sells itself. Same angles that the crowd got that were in attendance. What we got at home, that's all we needed. Okay, even Mom is disgusted. That's what's up. She pretty much pulled a Clarence Thomas. Look at the gif of that one. She pretty much pulled that move with her head shaking in disgust. Loved it. I love what's going on with New Day here. New Day, it just seems as though they cannot make anything right. They cannot make it right. And we documented a couple of weeks ago how New Day is actually right and how they are treating Big E. Like, they are justified, but the way WWE has essentially positioned Big E and just the story that is attached with Big E, the fact that all these years later, so many fans still care about him, his well-being. So many wish to see this guy back in the ring and all that. That's a sensitive nerve for a lot of fans. And New Day, I like where we're going with this. So now the question becomes, does New Day ultimately go, well, you know what? If we want to stop being in public restrooms, going to the restaurant to change or going to this place, do we maybe go on ahead and suck it up and apologize? Or like, what do we do here? Things that make you go, elsewhere, we had for the women's Intercontinental Championship tournament, Dakota Kai, as you already know, Zoe Stark, Lyra Valkyria from last week. We got Lyra Valkyria that advanced. So she was awaiting the winner of tonight's match between Natalya, Alba Fyre, and Io Sky. Meanwhile, Dakota Kai, she's already punched in her ticket. So she pretty much is, she's in the semifinal. She's going to be taking on Zoe Stark. So that half of your semifinals is set. Io Sky advancing in tonight's triple threat match. I gotta say, there was a part of me that was under the impression maybe it was going to be Natty. I was really, really pulling there for Natty. It's been extremely rare since we've seen her. Remember the reports that was floating around about almost 2 months ago when it was said that allegedly Natalya re-signed with WWE for multiple years. I was kind of under the impression that, okay, well, maybe, I mean, we all have heard the same stuff from over the years, how much of a great help she is to the women backstage. And, she's essentially in that mentor role, someone kind of similar to what CM Punk is doing with everybody, particularly on the NXT roster and all that. So, kind of, at least for me, at least, I don't know how it was for you guys, but for me, at least, I was under the impression that maybe we were going to see Natty uh, advance here in this tournament. And if it would have been a case where, all right, Natty is going to really do the honor, she's going to put over a young up and comer essentially in the semifinals, maybe even finals. I thought maybe we were going to go in that direction, but not the case whatsoever. So the way this Intercontinental tournament is really shaping up, some young, fresh faces that Triple H, Paul Levesque, and crew are really trying to do their due diligence and go, look, under this moniker of a tournament that we're doing here, we're trying to do our best to really build up these women. We're trying to create new stars here in the process. So one half, you got Dakota Kai, Zoe Stark, and on the other one, you got Lyra Valkyria taking on Io Sky. I think there's going to be a huge upset there for Io Sky fans. I don't see Io Sky advancing there. I think Lyra is definitely going to be going into the semifinals. She's my pick. I think she's going to be taking on Zoe Stark. But no matter how you cut this up, a new face is going to walk away your new Intercontinental champion. That's how I'm seeing it all play out here. Match itself, pretty typical. Wasn't bad, wasn't good. A little bit of a below average for my personal taste, but it's just kind of one of those going with the flow. I thought for the most part, all the girls they did relatively well for the most part there. Chad Gable picking up a very quick and decisive win over Akira Tozawa, pretty much foreshadowing what is likely to come for next week's Monday Night Raw, or even the Raw premiere, where Gable goes one-on-one there with Otis. Because remember what Chad Gable had said from last week. He plans on taking what was the Alpha Academy and just the joke that it's become. He mentioned he was going to be destroying each one of them one by one single-handedly. So point one goes to Chad Gable and his team from that front. We see the continued dissension in the ranks there with the Judgment Day. Finn Balor cannot believe no titles now, right, on their side. Liv still has her women's championship, though, and Liv reminding Balor, yo, this is why I told you need to listen to me, because I have the plan, and now look at you like you got nothing now. Like I tried to tell you. Balor was not trying to hear all that. Dom trying to be the peacemaker, figuring that the best way to have Judgment Day come together for the holidays is by sticking it to Damian Priest. What better way to feel better than beating up Damian Priest? So Dominic had a really good plan. Go to Adam Pearce, ask for a match against Damian Priest, which he got. He tried to sneak in other members of the Judgment Day. Who was it? JD McDonough was Santa Claus. Carlito was under the ring. Damian Priest pretty much spoiled all that. All those little lovely surprises. He pretty much put a nail in the coffin of those. Finn Balor coming from out of nowhere, attacking Damian Priest. Looked like it was going to be a total outnumbered beatdown there when the Viking Raiders, our new tag champions, came out for the save. Later on, Damian Priest letting the War Raiders know he appreciated them. War Raiders coming right back saying, hey, look, may have not always seen eye to eye over the years, but, we got mad respect for you, and we know that you respect us. And that makes a very interesting trio, I got to say, of a team. That makes a very interesting. I would love to see those guys. Now, just think about this for a second. And I really like what they've stumbled upon here. This kind of feels like maybe a Jeremy Borash suggestion here, but from what we saw tonight. But if you were to tell me that, hey, Lee, War Raiders, Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley. And then we still need one more participant, right? We need at least one more female that can go in there, because you got Raquel and Liv. So if you're just kind of looking at the roster right now and you're trying to figure out like who could maybe be that woman, right there with Rhea Ripley. I'm thinking about the roster right now. I don't know that's we don't need to just be throwing names out there, but do you feel where I'm coming from? Like, that's a very interesting stable that's starting to form there. That's a very interesting alliance that you got going on. I like it. I like where we're going with this, right down to the point. Next Monday's Raw, we're going to be seeing War Raiders and Damian Priest taking on Balor, JD McDonough, and Carlito. 6-man tag match. Also next week, we're going to be seeing CM Punk and Seth Rollins face off one more time before they have their match on the Raw Netflix debut. Final Boss is saying Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, my friend. Merry Christmas to you and your family. But think about that for a second. I want everybody to think about that and come back. Let's all come back for next Monday's show. Let's think about who could be that second female for that stable. Don't just pick any old name. Just like, because this is one of those. Wait, who would fit? Who would actually fit in that? That's your challenge. You got to figure out who would actually fit in that stable. Besides that, by the way, I mentioned Alba Fyre. Well, it's about damn time. Just got a text message from wifey. She's saying she's finally on her way home. That's good. We're almost done. Alba Fyre, we hadn't seen Isla Dawn in a minute. Don't know what's going on with her on social media, because she pretty much obliterated all of that stuff. As you guys recall, we were talking about Rollins earlier. Rollins had a sit-down interview that was taped over the weekend with Jackie Redmond. Redmond wanting to know what exactly is the root of this whole CM Punk issue. Like, where does this really stem from and everything? And for Rollins, it's just something that, I'm paraphrasing here, but in a nutshell, during this interview, this is something that's just metastasized over the years. And basically, he's still leaning into how hypocritical CM Punk is. And his whole thing, it's interesting, certain words that Rollins used here, because it almost plays off of what some of us have been saying online, on shows, you name it, forums, whatever. Well, CM Punk needs WWE, but WWE does not need him. Like, we even mentioned that here on the show pretty much initially when we were making sense out of, my God, hell has frozen over. So I found it that that Rollins was leaning in that direction. And he also talked about how disgusted he was seeing CM Punk teaming up there with Roman Reigns, and they're all doing the ones. Punk is doing the stupid little go to sleep hand gesture. And, he just decided that at that point, enough is enough. He wanted to get his hands on CM Punk by any means necessary. He's promising that we're going to see a side of him that we have not seen before, as this is not a match. This is going to be a fight. He is promising there's going to be a lot of violence, while at the same time, he's hoping that he will extract this cancer, this demon that is in his brain, because he feels if he's not able to do that, it's going to ultimately destroy him. So will Seth Rollins get what he wants? We'll have to wait and see. how that all plays out. But that pretty much was Monday Night Raw in a nutshell. On the eve of Christmas, you know, not a bad show. I've seen far worse shows put together the day before, a couple of days before Christmas. You know, the Monday Raw before Christmas. I've seen worse over the years. You know, it actually seems as though they really tried to make a conscious effort to, you know, hey, look, we're trying to put some quality in here for you guys. And I like it, you know, especially with the tenure of their relationship with USA coming to an end. Of course, I'm talking about Raw on USA, that coming to an end. Now, obviously, the SmackDown, they've got that. That's going to continue on and everything. By the way, we did talk about SmackDown being extended to 3 hours. I went greatly in depth about that on the Sunday show. So make sure you check that out. Webcast version available on the YouTube channel. Audio version is available wherever you get your podcast. Just use the keywords, the RCWR show. Let's see what you guys had to say. I want to pull up the polling results here. Let's go to X, formerly known as Twitter. And let's see how you guys have voted. Appreciate you guys that are hanging out with me for this lovely Monday night. Hopefully you got your Christmas shopping done there. And yes, to Horror Kingman in the chat. Yeah, without a doubt, Penta Jr. coming in. Yeah. I like the little vignettes. I saw a little bit more. See, I missed it last week, and I know a lot of people were going Penta, and I missed what you guys had missed because it just went by so quick. But I saw the vignette tonight. Yeah, I saw the little pentagon little diagram that was part of the quick little tease that they did. That's definitely Penta. Penta's definitely coming. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what happens. I wish Ray Phoenix was part of that, but give it time. My God, just the matchups alone. Man. Penta and Ray, Penta and Dominic Mysterio, Penta and Carlito. That would actually be pretty good as well. Santos Escobar, Axiom. There's some great things you'd be able to do. I can't wait. I'm very, very excited. And I've always said Penta and Ray Phoenix, like those guys would be good as singles acts and everything. We're going to be able to see what Penta can do for a bit. We'll be able to see what he can do for a bit as a solo act. All right. So I'm looking on X. 11% of you guys said that it was a awesome show. 33% of you said you didn't enjoy tonight's episode, honestly. Meanwhile, top dog, 55% of you are saying that it was a average show. Appreciate you guys that voted via X. Meanwhile, let's go to YouTube. Let's go to YouTube here. Go to youtube.com/the RCWR show and click on the post section. Had an interesting dinner. I love the Taco Bell crunch wraps. So some months back, me and the girl were shopping and we saw a Crunchwrap Supreme kit. Gives you everything you need. Basically, they're like, hey, you can replicate what you got, what you can get at Taco Bell. You can replicate it at home. Okay, cool. So I bought my ground beef. I got my sour cream. I got my tomatoes. I got my lettuce. Even got some shredded cheese. I said, okay, let's do this bad boy. Did my best to fold it up like they have displayed on the box for the instructions. But, the first one came out pretty good. The rest of them, boy, I struggled. I struggled with the rest of them. Did not taste like what you get from Taco Bell. I don't know what it is. with the Taco Bell, but yeah, nothing beats the actual restaurant. But for home, I think it's kind of cool that you're able to add whatever toppings that you want to it and everything. And I got to tell you, portion wise, it's much bigger. It's much bigger. The crunch wrap when you're done making it, because you're also taking the big old round tortilla wrap that they give you, and in the center you're taking a tostada. And you're loading that up, and in between layers, that's how you're pretty much doing it. So um for those of you that maybe saw that when you were doing your grocery shopping and you're a little bit on the fence, I would say try it just to say you tried it. I will say this: when you're done making it, this is going to sound funny, and I don't mean for it to sound funny, but you'll know exactly what I mean when I say this. It tastes cleaner than what you would pick up at the Taco Bell. It tastes cleaner. But I would say pick it up just to say you did it. But after that, like you're honestly good. One piece of advice I do want to give you guys: do not use their cheese that's in a pouch. They've got this cheese that comes in a pouch within the box, and they say use about a thumb size cheese to spread in the center, on the center of the tortilla. And then you load up the ground beef and then lay down the tostada, put the sour cream on, then go in with the tomatoes and the lettuce. And if you're like me, you like your cheese, you're going to do the shredded cheese. Don't use that cheese of theirs. I would recommend instead maybe pick up a jar of Velveeta cheese. Take what you need, put that in a safe Tupperware dish, pop it in the microwave for like about 30, 45 seconds. Take that cheese, spread that. Or if you don't like Velveeta cheese, whatever your favorite cheese is, I'm just saying, don't use the cheese that's in the Taco Bell Crunchwrap Supreme kit, because it tastes funny. You can actually taste, I'm going to say something that's going to kind of like, whoa, but you can actually taste the silver plastic pouch that it was in. You can actually taste that plastic that it was in, and doesn't taste good. It does not taste good whatsoever. All right, YouTube, let's see what's going on with you guys. What are you guys saying here? Oh, still early. 100% of you guys had said it was a awesome show. So, all right, there you go. There you go. Appreciate everybody that cast their vote. I know there's going to be some more vote. YouTube particularly, y'all usually, I don't know what it is, but unless we're like fresh off of a pay-per-view, usually next day is when I can really get a better snapshot what's going on with you guys. But yeah, I would say average show. I would say average show for the most part. Right. So that is that. We're doing pretty good on Showtime. So far we were talking about the War Raiders earlier. Ivar, I don't know if you all had heard about this, but he revealed he has permanent nerve damage after his neck injury and surgery. He recently did a interview with Chris Van Vliet for Insight, and he had revealed this. And as far as when the problem started, he noted that it started back in Brooklyn before WrestleMania. Him and Ricochet had a match. He then took a European uppercut and was like, whoa, did a system check, thought he was okay. Then after that, he was doing a main event, Raw, NXT coconut shows. He was doing some dark matches on SmackDown. He was on everything that was being given to him. Like, he was doing it without any complaints whatsoever. Then he got into a match with Obafemi for the North American Championship in NXT. They go to the second half of the match, and he just lost all the strength completely in his right arm. He couldn't pick up Obi. So, of course, when you're in a situation like that, you start calling audibles, right? That's exactly what had happened. And they made it through the match. Whole time they were checking on medical to have them see what was going on and him see how he was doing it and everything. After the match, he was like, okay, that's no good. Then he went to Discovery Cove that week with his wife, and tried to see if maybe taking a break would help him out, give him a reset and everything. And he noted that usually when he goes on vacations, that usually kind of helps him out and everything. But apparently he tried to hold his arm up to get a parrot to come over to him, but he couldn't get the arm up. So that in itself right there, that was the dead giveaway that he needed to go get a MRI done like as soon as possible and everything. So from there, he goes into great detail about, the MRI experienced and, check it out. Yeah, I checked out a little bit of the interview. I did a little bit of scrubbing, basically fast forwarding certain parts, but I thought it was very insightful. I appreciated him being so candid about what was going on with him. Now, can we get Chris Van Vliet? Can we get him in there instead of Sam Roberts? Chris is somebody I have a lot of respect for, quite honestly. I think he does a really good job with his guests. And he is somebody that definitely will take the time out to research his guests, research his topics. He knows what he's talking about. Can we get him instead of this, Sam Roberts and Peter Rosenberg? I mean, I'm still tripping over Peter Rosenberg. Coco Beware, let's get him in the Hall of Fame. Dude, he got in 15 years ago. Where you been? It's like, dude, where you been? Seriously, man. Oh my God. But yeah, good stuff right there. Also, for you book readers out there, especially when it comes to all things wrestling, it's interesting. I got blasted with an email, and I got a automated direct message. Apparently, Guy Evans is following up on his Nitro book. Apparently, he's got something that's getting ready to drop. I checked out the synopsis for it, and I'm like, this doesn't interest me. Like literally, matter of fact, look, I'm not being mean. I am not being mean. I will read it to you right now for those of you that maybe are not even aware. Let me see here. Hang on, I'll read you the synopsis right now. So it's called Beyond Nitro. That's the name of it, Beyond Nitro. And let's see here. Apparently, this is supposed to be coming out early 2025. Whenever you hear early 2025, just say to yourself, okay, so first quarter. So that January, February, or March, that is possibly when the book is going to be coming out. But and it'll cost you $27.95 if you decide to go buy it directly from Guy Evans' website. He's giving you opportunities to have it signed, or you can get a soft cover version or the hardcover version, all of that. So this is the synopsis. Beyond Nitro, this brand new book written in the same engaging style as Nitro, features an array of incredible untold stories, engrossing personal profiles, and detailed reflections on the enduring legacy of WCW. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. Some of the questions answered in Beyond Nitro include: who really designed the iconic NWO logo? I don't really care personally. Like, how did a teenage WWF fan get on WCW payroll? What or who is the unlikely thread connecting WCW and the CIA? How did Dusty Rhodes, at the height of the Monday Night Wars, no less, become an announcer for, checks notes, Swamp Buggy Racing in Florida? What was the story behind a film WCW versus NW vignette which never made air? Why exactly did Hollywood Hulk Hogan wrestle at a private event circa 1997 in the red and yellow as Hulk Hogan? What explains the public's continued fascination with WCW and the Monday Night Wars in general? What was a secret ambush meeting in 1999 which caused serious personal and professional repercussions for one party? Who said of previously unpublished communications shine new light on the chaos of WCW 2001? Informed by the same attention to facts, research, analysis, drama, and detail which made Nitro a bestseller. Beyond Nitro is finally here. It's a simply sensational sequel. Release date early 2025. I don't know about you guys. I'm just being honest. I'm not being a dick. I'm not being mean. Like, if that's what you got right now, like, I'm not interested. I'm just not interested. This is really for that hardcore wrestling fan, that hardcore historian, that hardcore, you know, like their trivial stuff, right? Until I hear differently. And I know a few people that's definitely going to be checking out this book. I'll be waiting to hear their reviews and whether or not this is something maybe I should even consider picking up. But I mean, that alone, it's like, nah, I'm pretty good. Like, my whole thing is, and I remember saying this when we reviewed Who Killed WCW, that whole docu-series, which I thought was really, really well rounded. And I remember saying, look, combine that with the Guy Evans Nitro book, you're like good to go. You don't need to get anything else. You are good to go. This is kind of one of those, well, off the break, no, I'm good. Now, if it picks up steam when it's finally released, yeah, then you'll have my attention. Then I'll probably go in here. But like, just as it stands right now, you want me to decide whether or not I'm gonna lay some money down? Like, no, not right now. Like that's not a hard sell for me. Speaking of books, Karrion Kross, I was kind of teasing it earlier there. Karrion Kross, his memoir, it's available for pre-order right now on Amazon and ECW Press. That thing ain't coming out until August. Not until August. I will do my due diligence to see if I can pick up a couple of copies, one to read, see if we can do some giveaways. And I'm gonna try to see if we can get Karrion Kross on the show. I'm gonna try to see if we can get him on the show. He is a fan of certain podcasts. I know I'm definitely within his wheelhouse, like to the point we're actually following each other on social media. I have not slid into his DMs, but I would imagine if and when I do slide into his DMs, I'm not going to be shunned away. I can tell you that right now. I have a feeling he would have no problem doing the show. I don't think it'd be an issue whatsoever. So keep you tuned in right here. You tune in right here. When I say we're doing big things in 2025, I'm not lying to you guys. By the way, for you AEW fans out there, Dustin Rhodes, in case you don't know, and you're always under the impression maybe Dustin would somehow find his way back to the WWE. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. Remember, initially a couple of months ago, his contract with AEW, it had expired. Well, Dustin Rhodes has signed a new multi-year deal with AEW. He took to Twitter to announce the news and everything. So he said, today I have signed a new multi-year contract with AEW. I want to thank my boss, Tony Khan, for every opportunity he has given me. Since coming here and being an original since inception, I've truly had the time of my life. Everybody knows my story and how much I have been through in all my years. Lost my passion and found it again here in AEW at the first Double or Nothing. Did not expect this one last ride to last as long as it has. And man, what a run I have had. I will finish my career here at AEW as I feel it is home to me. I have never felt respected and wanted like I have here. This makes me want to do my very best for Tony and push myself harder than I ever have. I feel loved and wanted here. I love all of our roster deeply. I want to thank the fans for all your support. I want to thank the men and women in the locker rooms. We have shared and created magic together. I want to thank Tony Khan for believing in me and relying on me in so many ways. I won't let you down. I love it here in AEW. And can't wait to see what the next few years take me. Thank you all for your constant love and support, and thank you to AEW. And last but not least, I want to thank my family for their support. They are the true rock stars. I am once again hashtag all elite. So he's staying right where he is there, right where he is. I think he'll eventually go back. You know, for those of you that's like, will he ever go back to he'll go back to WWE, but as far as in-ring stuff, like maybe a cameo here or there. But I think as far as a role for him in WWE, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if Dustin Rhodes honestly really took a step back and looked at where WWE is right now and said to himself, okay, so how would I really benefit from a WWE return? You know, what role would I have? And when it's a situation where Triple H pretty much already has his team in place, it's kind of hard to just try to slide on in there. So yeah, I could definitely see it on, and I'm not being harsh when I say this. I'm not being critical when I say this, but I honestly believe that if WWE were to try to ink out some type of deal with him, like right now, like let's say this AEW thing didn't materialize. Okay, well, WWE, like what? I'm having a hard time seeing, okay, yeah, we can use you behind the scenes. No, not so fast. Like you've already got all the people that you pretty much need in place. Anything else would really be overkill, not unless you have an issue with a particular individual and maybe you want to get somebody groomed and ready to go that can pretty much on the word go. You know, once you let this other individual go, you can immediately, okay, Dustin, you know, slide on in there and pretty much do it that way. It just, you know, if we really stop as fans and we think about all the news that we have read or heard about, you know, with the exception of that Lee Fitting guy, who again we talked about at great length on Sunday on the Sunday show. You know, everything else is pretty much mum. You know, it's pretty quiet right now, which you could take that as a good sign, right? So it probably would just be a case where we'd be seeing Dustin, you know, random tag matches, you know, purely the enhancement guy. That would be Dustin's role. At least in AEW, they must hear their mother. I think my furry daughter's here. Mommy getting ready to come in. At least in AEW, Dustin, you know, has an official role. Definitely he's in a position where Tony Khan is heavily leaning, you know, on his team. You know, we know there's many people that he leans on. Dustin can continue being in one of those roles. And I tell you what, if as part of this new deal, if Dustin is working more closely with Tony Khan and helping get ROH ultimately where it needs to be and help ROH ultimately get its respected TV deal, then Dustin is definitely in the right place. We also know that Dustin has a hand in training. Let me tell you something, as it stands right now with CM Punk showing up there in Florida at the Performance Center regularly, and then whenever NXT's on tour and CM Punk is pretty much right there and everything, Yeah, CM Punk and Dustin Rhodes in the same place at the same time, that probably wouldn't really gel so well right about now. So for the time being, Dustin chose, I think, very wisely to continue on there with AEW. You know, when you have it so good, why would you, anything else would kind of be a serious downgrade. You feel where I'm coming from? A basic analogy, and it kind of ties into a comment that longtime loyal listener Rick had put in. I saw it, and it was a gaming reference that he mentioned, and I'm thinking, it's like you get the latest video game console, and it's like, why would you downgrade? Like you got everything that you could ever ask for with that console. Why would you downgrade from there? It's like, so for Dustin, anything else would be a serious downgrade, right? But there's a question that not a question, but more so a comment. Because I did say, look, you guys got questions, comments, you can definitely submit them, and I'll definitely show you guys some love on the air and everything. And Rick had this to say. Let me pull this up on YouTube here. Again, this was part of the thread here. If you plan on buying Evercade VSR, buy the recommended arcade stick. The controller that's packed in won't let you go left. And yes, it can use a lot of third-party controllers, including Sony PS5 and 8-bit stuff and Xbox. It is a cartridge-based system. Each costs 25 to almost 40. Runs without net. Especially good if you travel or not for 5 or 6 weeks. Lee, you need to buy this. Seriously, it's $110 with taxes and shipping. They have handhelds too. Bless Yule for y'all. I don't know, Rick. I mean, I would have to do. I tried looking up a little bit of research about this system gaming console that you're talking about, and I don't know. I'm still a little bit on the fence about that. Right now, it doesn't scream to me, I have to buy this. Like I just would need to like really look up more information about this system you're talking about. Check out some of the YouTube reviews. Whenever I'm in doubt these days, I always just go on YouTube and I go, okay, let me see what some of these guys are saying about, like perfect example. I remember, and I was talking to Brandon about this. Shout out to Brandon. I gotta check in with him after the holidays is over, see how he's doing. Brandon's I'm gonna try to see if Brandon can help me out a lot behind the scenes when it comes to the show. Um, he's already proposed the idea of letting him revamp the show intro, narration, and all that. Because I was telling him I got a new video package that pretty much is going to be ready to go, because what we use right now is our code opener. Obviously there's like a lot of parts to that's kind of outdated, so we definitely need to touch that up again. The person that actually worked on it for me a couple of years back told me whenever I was ready, hit them up, because I actually touched base with them a couple of months ago and everything. But I remember, the Meta frame glasses that's running around right now, the Ray-Ban Meta AI glasses. You've seen the commercials for those. I was very interested in picking up a pair of those because I said to myself, those glasses look pretty damn cool. You can take pictures, you can listen to music, I think. Like that is just, that's insane. That's insane that you can do all that stuff. Like, hey, you should pick up a pair, and man, that'd be so cool if you're on your way somewhere and you need to ask a question, and you can get that information from the AI. And oh, hey, but you can't just get any old glasses. You got to make sure that you get them with your prescription and everything. And Then I started looking up, yeah, can you guys make these glasses but have my prescription in them? And turns out you can. And I was like this close to putting in an order. And then I was on YouTube and I started looking up some of the reviews for these things. And um, when I look up the reviews, it was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. The AI is not like what we get with Siri and Google. You know, the Meta AI is still a little wonky there, still a little funky, like to the point. I got to give a shout out to Jason Solomon. Love you, my dude. Love you. I saw this post that he had over the weekend, and I just died in tears when I saw this. Oh my God. Oh, tell me I didn't take a screenshot. If I didn't take a screenshot, I'm going to be greatly disappointed. Wait a minute here. Tell me I took a screenshot. No, I didn't take a screenshot. That's okay. I can easily go back. And look at my last couple of posts because I know for a fact I had posted it on the timeline here. That's weird. I'm no longer able to find it. But basically, Jason had I don't know if a listener had brought it to his attention or if he looked it up himself, but he ended up seeing what the AI said about him. And it was the funniest damn thing I ever saw in my life. It said something along the lines of Jason has always wanted to be inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame. And like there was one particular year where he came close to being inducted in the Hall of Fame, but it didn't happen because he was in Africa or whatever. Otherwise, he would have accepted the induction. He's hoping that maybe next year he'll go into the Hall of Fame. It was like the craziest goddamn thing I ever saw in my life. I'm trying to see if I can find it now. Oh my God. Yes, I found it. This is AI. No bull. This is the AI overview for Jason Solomon here. Monster is not in the WWE Hall of Fame, but he has expressed interest in being inducted in the future. In an interview, Monster said that he was working on a film in South Africa when the logistics to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame couldn't be worked out. However, he said he is still open to being inducted into the future. Like, what the hell? Like, say what? Of course, I trolled his ass. I said, you got to go in on that note afterwards. I pulled a Mark Henry. I did the little Mark Henry joint. If I could have found the clip, I would have. But you know that joint from Mark Henry? He should be here. He should be here. It had me curious because I know we ended the show on a little bit of a cliffhanger. And it had me curious about, okay, so that's the AI on there. All right, well, what's going on here with the RCWR show? Like, what's up with that? So I was very curious. So I said, okay, well, let's see in a Google search. Let's see what happens when I put in Lee Sanders. Let's see what happens here. And so when I put in Lee Sanders, and I'm doing this in real time right now, we get American Composer. And then we get other joints. We see other joints that people search for. We see Johnny Rockets. Apparently, there's an obituary. There's a comedian. There's a union leader. There's an author. So we just keep scrolling down, and we see apparently there's a Lee Sanders that has an IMDb page. Oh, hey, look, we've got Lee Sanders at the RCWR show X. Okay, right. Okay, so Not too bad. You got to scroll down just a little bit, but it looks like, we're right there. We're on the first page. So I mean, that's pretty good. Let's see what happens when we say Lee Sanders podcast. All right, Lee Sanders podcast. Okay. So not bad. So we see some images of me. We get an overview, which reads covering the latest in pro wrestling, pop culture, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. Here you'll find episodes of the RCWR show with Lee Sanders, Wrestling with the Topics, and other shows. Okay. All right, cool. And then we just see nothing but the first page. It's dedicated to all things the RCWR show. All right, so that's good. All right, now let's go to Bing. Remember, Bing has the co-pilot thing. And co-pilot, that's pretty much like, hey, talk to me. You can ask me anything and I will let you know, blah, 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 blah. All right, so let's do this. So we're messaging co-pilot and let's just type in Lee Sanders. Let's see what happens here. So when we type in Lee Sanders, we get an accomplished American composer. So that's obviously the wrong Lee Sanders. Let's say Lee Sanders podcast. And let's see what it says this time. The RCWR show with Lee Sanders is a popular podcast that covers professional wrestling, pop culture, entertainment, and more. Since its inception in 2011, the show has gained a reputation for its witty, insightful, and interactive discussions. Lee Sanders hosts the show, and it's known for his engaging personality and deep knowledge of wrestling and entertainment. As far as I know, I didn't write all that. Some of that sounds from I didn't write that second part. That must be AI just doing this whole thing. Okay. Um. Says, do you want to know anything else particularly? Tell me more about Lee. And we go back to the composer. So that's weird. That's right. So that's weird. So we're getting the American composer, and then we're getting. I wonder what happens if we were to just say RCWR. Let's see what happens when we just say RCWR. You type in RCWR, you get the name of the show, content, all of that good stuff. Okay. Interesting. I know on some outlets, it's kind of one of those things where, sorry, no results. And you're like, wait, what? Wait, what? Like, I would like to believe that like 13 years now, like, surely there's enough. Surely there's enough breadcrumbs, data, and all that loveliness where, you should be able to generate some type of a profile information there. I know we're going into a little bit of OT. I don't mind. I want to make sure you guys get a nice well run. I don't want you guys feeling cheated. So one other thing I want to bring up, AEW Rampage. So there was a dip in the rating and viewership as really its competition was an NCAA playoff game. I'm seeing right now that for this past Friday, Rampage did a 0.06 rating in the 18 to 49 demo, got about 227,000 viewers. The week before that, remember, it had a 0.8 demo and an audience of 279,000. And it pains me to say this, but it is official. Tony Khan has confirmed that AEW has filmed its final taping of AEW Rampage. So for those that maybe were under the impression I was misspeaking last week with my AEW Rampage live coverage and review up on the 401 Mania site, no. And I know there's definitely a decent amount of people that are pretty sad, not upset, but definitely sad that Rampage is ending, because for just 1 hour of wrestling, it was pretty good. Yeah, it was honestly pretty good. But yeah, apparently AEW, they filmed their stuff. Looks like earlier tonight they had filmed it. So this report here that I'm looking at, shout out to my guy Jeffrey Harris. Jeffrey's a really cool dude over on 41 Mania. He notes that this week's New Year's Smash edition of Rampage will go down as the show's series finale, which is what I alluded to and said point blank when I wrapped up my writing for last week's joint. Word has surfaced that AEW president and CEO Tony Khan announced that tonight's AEW Dynamite 34th Street and Rampage New Year's Bash TV taping that AEW is taping the final episode of Rampage for the foreseeable future. Tonight's tapings are currently being held at the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City. Remember, Rampage launched in 2021. So, wow, 3 years. Wow, 3 years. That's for some reason I was thinking it was 4 years, but it was actually 3 years. So, yeah, that's crazy. When you think about that first episode where CM Punk made his return, that first episode did like 1.100, like 29 million viewers. So to go from that, and what was the rating that I just gave you guys? Like 227,000, 224,000, to go from a million to that. That is just insane. So the final edition of Rampage will be airing this Friday, December 27th, TNT, 10 p.m. Eastern. I'll be there. I'll be there. That will be my last that'll be my last commitment with 401 Mania. And I'm kind of sad. I'm kind of sad, but I'm excited at the same time. I'm very excited at the same time. I appreciate everybody involved that was part of the whole process and bringing me in, giving me the opportunity to write about what I love, which is about wrestling. And also providing me opportunities to not just write about wrestling, but cover other interesting topics, points of interest as well. These guys gave me that opportunity, and I've been able to I've always been a great storyteller. How I write, you early on, you could see the passion, you could see the energy, but there was really no proper structure. And so this is where my education, going back to college and all that, really came into play, because a lot of the classes that I've been taking these past couple of years really helped strengthen me as a writer. And I know what to look for. And it's really, nothing's more cooler these days than when I'm going over a classmate's work and I'm just taking out a Sharpie or whatever, and I'm like, take that out, take that out, take that out, take that out. So I'm really excited to go into the new calendar year and really work more on my brand, work more on stories that I want to cover, and not have to worry about dealing with any red tape, as far as we can't publish this because XYZ, or we don't feel comfortable publishing this because XYZ. And but those guys, they've been great to me. They've been great to me. If I was maybe 15 years younger and I didn't have a majority of the financial responsibilities that I do have right now, maybe I'd be interested in continuing on and seeing what other stuff I might be able to do with the guys. But they've been great. They've been nothing been great. I'm really gonna miss the community over there. It's a really, really cool community. Same guys like clockwork show up every single week. Even some of the trolls. Like, it's a really cool, laid back atmosphere. I'm definitely gonna miss them, and I'm not sure what's going to happen. As far as I know, AEW, they're still trying to pitch another show there. Wonder what's going on with that shockwave. We'll see. Updated lineup for AEW Dynamite on 34th Street edition keep this in mind. This is what you got for this coming Wednesday. AEW Continental Classic Gold League match. Will Ospreay, who's got 6 points, will be taking on Brody King, who also has 6 points. For your Blue League, Okada with 7 points will take on Shelton Benjamin, who has 6 points. Going back to Blue League, Cal Fletcher with 9 points will take on Daniel Garcia, who has 7 points. For your Gold League, Claudio Casanogli, 9 points, will take on Commander, who has no points. Why we got Commander in there? Okay, because there's only like 2 more matches, so I don't. As far as I'm concerned, you're eliminated. Like whatever. Last gold match, Darby Allin 6 points, taking on Ricochet, who has 9 points. Tony Storm will take on Deonna Purrazzo. So it's gonna be a loaded up edition of Dynamite. Just straight up good fun, pure wrestling action. So that's gonna be a good one. Bandito, by the way, he suffered a concussion at the ROH Final Battle pay-per-view event. He has commented on that. He said the blow was in a delicate area to his head. Now he just has to wait till there's no brain inflammation. He thanks everybody that had messaged him asking about his health. He said it's been very hard to cope with the past couple of days. Too much frustration running in his head. But he's hoping that he'll be able to bounce back and everything. So and keep in mind, they were doing all those really fun, quirky cornball vignettes of him returning and everything, and then that happens. By the way, did you guys see WWE revealed a previously unseen ECW championship belt from the 2008 era? For those of you not aware, WWE, they released like this clip, WWE from the Vault, and they showed this championship that CM Punk was supposed to have for those several months that he was the ECW champion. If you go on my Facebook page at the RCWR show, I shared the video on there, and it's a funky design. I'm glad they ended up not going with it, but there was a part of me that was looking at the coloring that was used for the ECW text and was hoping they could somehow incorporate that into the title we ultimately saw. That was the regular thing that they decided they wanted to run with and everything. But a very interesting design. I thought it was just too simple, very simplistic. It looked very cheap, kind of tacky looking. My whole thought process was, yeah, if it was the Paul Heyman ECW, okay, I could kind of maybe to a degree, but then even at that, I'm going, no, ECW deserves better. Like even at that, you can make an argument. No, Lee, ECW deserves better of a championship than that. So, yeah, go check it out though. Go check it out. Very interesting. Also, TNA Wrestling has confirmed that it will air on Sportsnet in Canada. So shout out to my people in the Canada area. All of that is going to begin on January 2nd. As apparently TNA Wrestling has signed a exclusive multi-year agreement with Sportsnet to air its flagship TV show, TNA Impact, every Thursday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Nationally in Canada on Sportsnet 360. All that begins on Thursday, January 2nd. Additional programming to air on Sportsnet 360 includes TNA's Explosion, TNA in 60, and other TNA classics from the past 20-year plus library, showcasing over 6,000 hours of unforgettable matches and moments. So I know my people in Canada that love their wrestling, and particularly they love their TNA. That's pretty good. That's some good stuff right there. So box office news, it looks like Sonic the Hedgehog 3 dominated. Mufasa, meanwhile, fell pretty short. It looks like what I'm seeing here is the video game based Sonic the Hedgehog there. It took the #1 spot with ease, coming in with $62 million. This is below the early estimates of 70 million that started the weekend, but within the 60 million to $65 million studio, pretty much what they expected to come in the frame. That's actually still pretty good. Number is very solid for the franchise, if not stellar, ranking behind Sonic the Hedgehog 2's 72.1 million start in April of 2022, but ahead of the first film's $58 million debut in February of 2020. So Sonic 3 did have that competition there. It was going up against Mufasa, Wicked, and Moana 2. Meanwhile, with Mufasa, the Lion King, that came to about $35 million for its opening weekend, well below the 50 million to 55 million range that they thought they were going to be getting. It's interesting because the first Lion King live action film that opened up to $191 plus million in 2019. So this is the lowest, if you're keeping track at home, this is the lowest start for a live action remake of a Disney animated film, beating even Dumbo's $46 million start in March of 2019. Honestly, I think they didn't do a better job. Disney, they did not do a better job in really spacing stuff out. If it was their intention to have Mufasa the Lion King really be able to bring in some really good, strong numbers, when you are having it in that same wheelhouse as some of the other stuff that we've been talking about these past couple of weeks, you're not really giving it the best opportunity for success. You can almost make an argument, well, with the Mufasa joint, maybe that would have been better off as a Disney Plus exclusive. Maybe it would have been better that way. I think so at least. But yeah, they got to do things a little bit smarter. I personally feel there's no reason for you to have this over here, this over here, this over here, and this over here all running at the same time. Just focus and limit it to 2 if it's going to be coming from the same production studio company that same quarter. Just focus on 2, let 2 come out, and then just do it that way. I personally feel. But no. And then also it very well could also be could also be a factor. It could be fatigue. Moviegoers could probably go, look, I know any and everything about the Lion King, Mufasa, and it's like, no, I'm good. Like, really, I'm good. It could also be fatigue. So I'm very curious to see, as far as the Lion King franchise goes, are they going to learn their lesson here and just go, okay, we're going to leave this alone, and if we do decide we want to do something else, we're going to forward it to Disney Plus, let it go there, or we're just not going to do it at all if we don't think it's financially feasible, let alone profitable. Some of the things that you need to take into account there. So with that, we did about an hour 48 minutes. Hey, look here, man. I want to take this time out. I want to thank you all that's been representing, checking out the content all year long, especially when we were having hiccups early on trying to figure out the whole migration process from we were with OBS for the longest time, for years, and then we really started having some serious issues with them, and it was like and everything's been pretty good with StreamYard. I gotta say, so much easier just to be able to, and all I have to really focus about is, all I have to really focus on nowadays is just the cosmetic aspects of the show. Of course, audio as well, messing around with that, tinkering around with that in the background. But it's been way less of a headache. So I appreciate you guys that's been representing, checking out the show all year long. Really means a lot. I hope you guys have a fantastic Merry Christmas / Happy Hanukkah. For those of you that are going to be around on Friday Friday night, and you're going to be getting your wrestling fix on with the SmackDown and everything. Don't forget, I'll be live on the Full One Mania site one more time, the final time. I'll be covering AEW Rampage Fallout. So join me for that, as that'll be the big coda. It'll be the AEW Rampage coda. We'll be doing that. And you got loads of content that you guys are going to be able to check out for on demand and on the download. So if you're going to be traveling, seeing loved ones, please be safe out there. I know a lot of you guys are traveling by the boatloads. Have a lot of patience out there too. And as I always say, every single week on these shows, and the sentiments ring truer now more than ever, especially as we have Christmas / Hanukkah and Kwanzaa approaching. As always, be well. I'll see you all next go round. Be safe and be kind to one another. Now more than ever, we definitely need to do that. So take care. Happy holidays, y'all, and peace out.